Hard numbers on the cost of poor leadership. Gallup organization has been conducting employee engagement surveys and polls every year for several decades. So what are the results? The results of these surveys consistently indicate that less than a third of all employees are engaged and committed at work. Think about it. 1 out of 3 workers are engaged, 2 out of 3 are not. So what causes 2/3 of the employees in companies to be disengaged? So simply put, it is poor leadership. Does leadership impact the bottom line of your organization or any organization? Leadership experts Zenger and Folkman initiated a study for a large Fortune 500 commercial bank. So now these leaders they studied were heads of different branches for the same bank and were responsible for the profitability, as a profit center of their respective branch operations. So Zenger and Folkman started with the 360-degree assessment of the leadership competencies of all these leaders. Why? To gauge the effectiveness of the leader. Now, based on the 360-degree feedback scores, they divided the leaders into 3 groups. The top 10% were the best leaders. The bottom 10% were the worst leaders. And then there was the middle 80%, which were the rest of the leaders. So now they compared the performance of these 3 groups, top 10%, bottom 10%, and the middle 80%, on 3 indicators: net income, the profit or loss of their branch, and number 2, employee engagement in terms of percentage of employees who were engaged, or opposite, who thought about quitting. So here are the results, and they are quite interesting. Now, as you might expect, the results show that the bottom 10% did poorly and the top 10% did well. But it is striking to see just how significant these differences are. The bottom 10% leaders had a net income of minus 1.2 million, or actually a loss. In addition, over 80% of their employees wanted to quit the organization if they could. The middle 80% now generated a net income of 2.4 million. And finally, compare that with the top 10% of the leaders. So they had an average net income of 4.5 million. And only 3% of the employees under these leaders thought about quitting the company. Although specific numbers in other organizations may vary, Zenger and Folkman found this trend in multiple leadership studies across many organizations. So what is the conclusion of the Zenger-Folkman study? First, poor leaders lose money, good leaders make profit, and extraordinary leaders simply double your profit. Second, if you want to find out the effectiveness of a leader, just ask those who the leader leads through an anonymous 360-degree assessment. And third, want to increase your bottom line? Develop your managers into world-class leaders. So poor leadership is a drag on performance, and good leadership simply accelerate performance, as we saw in the Zenger-Folkman study. So how's the leadership in your organization? And how do you know? How can you be sure? Get guaranteed and measurable results from your leadership development investment. So here's a question. Would you like measurable results from your leadership development initiatives? Obviously, yes, right? You spend a lot of money. So how about guaranteed results? So we can offer that. We use stakeholder-centered one-on-one coaching for leaders, and it's a process pioneered by world's #1 leadership thinker, Dr. Marshall Goldsmith, the executive coach to the CEOs of Fortune 500 companies. In 2020, global gurus rated us the #1 coaching process in the entire world. And here are some benefits. So first, it costs less than sending your leader to a 5-day program at a B school. Unlike training or executive education program, the entire team will be involved in the development of the leader while they are doing their day-to-day work. The program is highly time efficient for busy leaders. It only takes about 1 to 2 hours per month. The leader becomes the coach and the impact cascades down to the team. Over 1 million leaders worldwide, from startups to Fortune 500 companies, have undergone this process quite successfully with 95% success rate. In fact, we are so confident of this process that we often work with our clients on a no growth, no pay basis. What does it mean? If your leaders don't improve, you simply don't pay. Don't try that with other vendors. Schedule a 15-minute conversation to find out more. There is no obligation and there is no sales pitch. The link to schedule the conversation is in the description of this video. Visit our website www.newageleadership.com to find out more.